Hi, I'm Alex. Tonight we're traveling back to medieval Europe, to a time when winter nights were long, the wind was unforgiving, and the smallest decisions could mean the difference between comfort and survival. So, settle in, lower the lights, and let the noise of the modern world slowly fade away, because tonight we're stepping inside an ordinary peasant's home to discover why families willingly shared their beds with animals. The year is 1187. A pale winter sun hangs low above the hills before quietly disappearing behind a blanket of grey clouds. The daylight fades quickly. In the Middle Ages, darkness always arrived earlier than people wished. There are no glowing streetlights waiting outside, no warm houses filled with electric light, no heaters humming softly in the background, only the coming night. And whatever warmth a family has managed to gather before it arrives, you find yourself walking along a narrow dirt road. The ground beneath your feet is frozen hard. Each careful step produces a quiet crunch that disappears into the evening air. The village ahead is small, perhaps 20 cottages, no grand castle, no busy marketplace, only simple wooden homes surrounded by tiny fields that now sleep beneath winter frost. Thin streams of smoke curl gently into the sky from holes in thatched roofs. The smell of burning oak drifts through the cold air. Somewhere in the distance, a church bell rings slowly. 1, 2, 3. Its sound rolls gently across the valley before fading into silence. The villagers know exactly what it means. Night has arrived. Time to go home. You continue walking. A cold breeze slips across your face. It carries the scent of damp earth, wet straw, and distant animals settling down for the evening. Ahead, one small cottage glows softly from within. Warm orange light escapes through tiny cracks between rough wooden boards. Compared with the freezing darkness outside, it looks wonderfully inviting. You step closer. The cottage is smaller than most modern bedrooms. Its walls lean ever so slightly after years of wind and rain. Its roof is made from tightly packed straw that has protected the family through countless winters. The wooden door opens slowly. A wave of warmth greets you. Not hot, simply warm enough to make your frozen hands relax. Inside, a single room serves every purpose imaginable. It is the kitchen, the dining room, the workshop, the bedroom, the nursery. Every moment of daily life happens inside these 4 wooden walls. Near the center of the room, a small fire burns inside a simple stone hearth. The flames are gentle now. Firewood is precious. No family can afford to waste it. Above the fire hangs a black iron pot. Inside, a thin cabbage soup quietly bubbles. There is no rich aroma of roasted meat, no fresh bread straight from an oven, only cabbage, barley, onions, and water. Yet everyone waits patiently. After a full day working frozen fields, even the simplest meal feels comforting. The mother slowly stirs the pot with a long wooden spoon. Her hands are rough from years of labor. The skin across her knuckles is cracked by cold weather. She says very little. Words are unnecessary. Every movement follows a rhythm practiced thousands of times before. Across the room, Two young children sit together beneath a thick wool blanket. Their cheeks are bright red from the cold. Their clothes are simple, undyed wool, rough linen, nothing fancy, nothing wasted. The father quietly removes his heavy boots. Mud falls onto the packed dirt floor. He sighs softly. His back aches after spending the entire day guiding a wooden plow through frozen ground. Winter farming is difficult. Every task requires more effort than the season before. Outside, the wind becomes stronger. It whistles through tiny gaps in the walls. The youngest child looks toward the door. He already knows what comes next. It happens every evening. The father walks across the room. He lifts the heavy wooden bar that keeps the door closed. Then he opens it. A blast of icy air rushes inside. The fire flickers wildly. Snowflakes dance through the doorway before melting against the warm floor. For just a moment, the cottage feels almost as cold as the world outside. Then the goat calmly walks through the doorway. She doesn't hesitate. She doesn't seem confused. She knows exactly where she's going. Her hooves click softly against the wooden floor before she settles beside the wall nearest the fire. No one says a word. No one seems surprised. A few moments later, 3 chickens wander inside. They flap their wings only once before quietly hopping into a corner where fresh straw has already been placed. The youngest child smiles. One of the chickens always chooses the very same corner, every single night. Soon another sound, Morning arrived long before the sun. There was no alarm clock, no gentle melody, no glowing screen beside the bed. Only the faint sound of a rooster stretching its neck and announcing another day. The little cottage slowly came to life. The father opened his eyes first. The fire had almost disappeared. Only a handful of glowing embers remained beneath a blanket of grey ash. The air was cold again, not as cold as outside, but cold enough that every breath became visible. Beside him, the pig remained asleep. Its slow breathing sent tiny clouds of warmth into the chilly room. The father smiled quietly. It had been another successful night. Everyone was still alive. In the Middle Ages, people never took that for granted. A single freezing night could steal a life, especially the very young or the very old. The mother carefully stood without waking the children. She wrapped a thick wool shawl around her shoulders before kneeling beside the hearth. With practiced hands, she searched beneath the ashes. Tiny orange embers still glowed. She gently added dried twigs, then small branches. Finally, a thicker piece of oak. Within moments, soft flames danced once again. The room slowly filled with warmth. The smell of burning wood spread through the cottage. It was one of the most familiar scents in medieval Europe. Soon the goat stood and stretched. The chickens fluttered awake one by one. The pig lazily rose to its feet. For a few quiet moments, humans and animals greeted the morning together. No one found it unusual. This had become the rhythm of life. Outside, snow covered the fields like a white blanket. Every fence post wore a cap of frost. The nearby stream had almost frozen solid. Only a narrow ribbon of moving water remained. Winter was beautiful, but it demanded respect. The father opened the door. A blast of icy air rushed inside once more. The pig wandered back toward its pen. The chickens scattered across the yard, searching for anything edible beneath the snow. The goat followed slowly behind. By sunrise, the cottage belonged entirely to the family again. Many people today imagine medieval homes as dirty places filled with animals all day long. The truth was usually much different. Whenever weather allowed, animals spent most of their time outside. Only during especially cold nights or dangerous weather were they invited indoors, not because families enjoyed crowded homes, but because survival required practical decisions. Every animal represented wealth. A cow provided milk, a goat produced cheese, chickens laid eggs. A pig could eventually feed an entire family. Keeping them safe mattered just as much as keeping children safe. A stolen animal could destroy a family's future. A dead cow could mean hunger for months. Bringing valuable animals inside also protected them from thieves, wild wolves, and freezing temperatures. It was a decision based on necessity, not comfort. Breakfast was simple. Yesterday's bread soaked in warm broth, perhaps a little cheese if any remained. Nothing was wasted. Even hard bread several days old could become a filling meal. The children ate quietly. There was little time before work began again. Unlike modern childhood, medieval children rarely spent mornings playing. Even the youngest had responsibilities. One gathered firewood, another carried water from the village well. Someone fed the chickens, someone cleaned the stable. Everyone contributed. Life depended on many small tasks completed every single day. The father stepped outside carrying a wooden bucket. His boots crunched through fresh snow. The sky above was pale grey. Clouds promised more snow before evening. Winter farming never truly stopped. Animals still needed feeding. Fences required repair. Firewood had to be collected before another storm arrived. There were always jobs waiting inside. The mother carefully shook out the straw bedding. Fresh straw was surprisingly important. Old, damp straw trapped moisture. Moisture stole warmth whenever possible. Families replaced it with dry straw gathered after harvest. The process took time, but comfortable sleep depended upon it. Modern mattresses cradled the body. Medieval straw beds did something simpler. They lifted people away from the freezing ground. Even a few inches mattered. The packed earth beneath the cottage remained bitterly cold throughout winter. Sleeping directly upon it could quickly drain precious body heat. Straw created a barrier, simple, inexpensive, remarkably effective. As the children helped clean the room, a tiny gray mouse darted across the floor. The family cat reacted instantly. Within seconds, The mouse disappeared beneath quick paws. Nobody celebrated it. Nobody looked shocked. Cats earned their place inside medieval homes. Without them, mice could destroy precious jade.